Now, Philadelphia's only primetime news hour, honored by the Associated Press as the best newscast in Pennsylvania, the Fox 10 o'clock news.
3,000 delegates listen as the nation's leaders make a plea to help the children. The pact is signed, the hope that a new era of service has begun. Good evening from Independence Mall. This was an historic day in Philadelphia.
The presidents, the power, and the people come together in the name of volunteerism. And that's first on Fox tonight, surrounded by history, the political elite, and the glowing optimism of young people. President Clinton issues his challenge, urging all Americans to volunteer their time to save the nation's children. Our coverage begins tonight with Jacqueline Bolden, who covered this morning's opening ceremony.
The presidents and children of the United States.
It's probably been a couple hundred years since this many distinguished people gathered at Independence Mall for a common goal.
What we do here and what you do in this decade can make a better America for the next century.
The presidents and the children.
We can no longer be connected with apathy and inaction because America's children are too precious an asset to be lost.
The presidents and their wives.
From this day forward, when someone asks you to help a child, just say yes.
Young and old, black and white, Democrat and Republican, they issued a call to action to save 2 million American children by the year 2000.
2,300 teenagers drop out of school every day, and this is more than a terrible loss to America. It's an epidemic.
The message of the day rang out loud and clear because the facts of what is happening to America's children are so striking. 15 children die each day from gunfire. 27 children die each day in poverty.
You and I know that a lot of the problems facing our children are problems of the human heart, problems that can only be resolved when there is a one-on-one connection, community by community, neighborhood by neighborhood, street by street, home by home, with every child in this country entitled to live out their God-given destiny.
And so President Clinton called on Americans to give their time, their energy, their spirit to improving the lives of impoverished children. And the general shall lead them.
We gather here to pledge that those of us who are more fortunate will not forsake those who are less fortunate.
General Powell says he will give the next 3 years of his life to the effort. He's asking corporations, nonprofit groups, and individuals to join in the crusade.
This thing called life, it ain't that simple.
The 2-hour ceremony ended with the signing of an official proclamation, the Presidents of America calling on the people of America to reach out to her children. It is hoped that this call to action sounded here at Independence Mall will be heard in every state in the country, in every community where a child needs help. The call has gone out, now the work begins. At Independence Mall, Jacqueline Bolden, Fox News.
The state of Pennsylvania and the city of Philadelphia have each formed volunteer delegations already.
Mayor Ed Rendell says the state and city groups will come together this August to keep the spirit of the summit alive. Now, later in the day, that summit declaration, Jacqueline showed us in her story, was moved to the Pennsylvania Convention Center. There, a number of governors, including Delaware's Tom Carper and New Jersey's Christie Whitman, added their signatures to the document. With that, the governors pledged that their respective states will carry out the goal of the summit, an ongoing commitment to America's children.
Those governors were joined by thousands of other dignitaries, celebrities, and delegates. The logistics and security concerns have been a challenge. So far, so good for city organizers. Up until now, at least, this summit has been a planning success. Bruce Gordon has that story.
It could have been mass chaos. Thousands of people, many of them VIPs with special security needs, spilling from Independence Mall to flood the streets of Philadelphia. But the city was ready. As delegates left the mall, summit staffers greeted them with directions and advice.
It's quicker to walk than to take the bus.
Extra police moved vehicles up and down Market Street with minimal delays. Pedestrians seemed cooperative.
Everyone accepted the conditions, the detours very well, and we've had no problems.
That's not to say travel was easy. The presidential motorcade brought 7th Street to a standstill for a time, and general congestion often slowed downtown movement to a crawl.
Some roads weren't officially closed, but because of the sea of people, they were pretty much impassable.
Security officials had prepared for possible trouble from protesters near the mall, and a handful of anti-volunteer demonstrators did show up.
What we are primarily opposed to is the idea that we have this duty to be our brother's keeper, that we cannot live for ourselves.
But their numbers were small, and their message was largely ignored by an overflow crowd. City officials went the extra mile to ensure summit delegates felt welcome and safe during their visit. Visitors seemed appreciative.
I really have had no problems. I got into my hotel okay. I got registered all right. I've been able to get in and out of events.
The Reverend Jesse Jackson joined in praising the city's planning efforts, but reminded all that this is just the first step.
What does it matter if you paint the front of a school, but the school does not have wiring and therefore cannot hold the internet?
It's true, the final grade for this volunteer summit won't be known for months, maybe years. But with Philadelphia's kickoff now nearly complete, it seems the city has passed its logistical test with flying colors. In Center City, Philadelphia, Bruce Gordon, Fox News.
And one more note on security now. As we broadcast live this morning, Jill and I got a darn good look at how seriously security forces took their jobs.
That's right. Police and Secret Service sniper teams were stationed on every rooftop surrounding the mall. Well, now that all the speeches and the hoopla is over, what happens next? That's the question that will be asked over and over in the months to come. If the spirit of volunteerism doesn't go home with the delegates who came to Philadelphia, history will declare this summit a failure. But as Rich Maneri reports, steps are being taken to make sure that doesn't happen.
The major goal that we have in this room is that by the end of the day today, your delegation will walk out with a specific action plan.
But a plan will not work without an important ingredient. You could find it at this lunchtime meeting. It was going from table to table. It's called inspiration.
In reality, the only way this is going to be successful is to take it back to the community and affect the lives of young people, one kid at a time, one family at a time, one community at a time.
In 14 rooms, summit delegates are engaged in breakout sessions. They will try to keep the new volunteer spirit, born Sunday on Germantown Avenue, alive into the next century. The hope is that when they go home, these people will inspire similar change.